Shalom, all praise to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, that belongs to the apostles of GMS. This is Nava Allah coming at you with another video. And this video, I want to focus on the book of Proverbs, chapter 13, verse 20. Alright, so let's get right to it. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 13, verse 20. He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. Now the main part I want to get to is the first part of the scripture. I'm gonna break the whole thing down, but the main part I'm focusing on is that first half of the scripture. So he that walketh wise men shall be wise, but a companion fool shall be destroyed. So what the scripture is clearly indicating is the results of the company that you keep. If you're a companion with fools, you shall be destroyed. In other words, it can lead to downfall. It can lead to your destruction. Okay, it can lead to unfortunate situations. Imagine being in the presence of individuals that are criminals, that start trouble, that don't have good judgment. Okay, that have bad character, morals, scruples, principles, and imagine how that can affect you. It's like hanging out with a bunch of guys that you know sell drugs, and then police come in the building while you're hanging out with them, and then you get arrested. Going to movies with a guy that you know, is a troublemaker, and then y'all get into a fight in the theater because he chose to throw popcorn at somebody. I'm just giving these examples. Walking down the street with somebody who you know is gonna see someone and say, "Hey, what you looking at?" And then now here's an altercation. You got to be mindful of that. Okay. But the beginning, the main part I want to focus on is when it says, he that walketh with wise men shall be wise. But if you walk with someone that's wise, you're going to be wise. Why? Because when you're in the presence of a person that has wisdom, then what's going to happen is, by you being in their presence, you'll be able to see their wisdom. And by seeing their wisdom, you'll be able to see how it is that they conduct themselves, how it is that they see things around them. Because wisdom is the application of knowledge. People have knowledge, they know certain things, yeah. But do they have the wisdom, which is the application of that knowledge? So he that walketh with wise men shall be wise. Get a word, walketh. Halak. It says, doesn't really say much, but it says to go, walk, come, depart, proceed, move, go away. To lead, bring, lead away, carry, cause, to walk. To die, live, men of life. Okay? So, in a scenario like that, you are what? You're walking with the wise. Or you have the men of life as the wise. So therefore, you'll be wise as well. So you'll see how it is that they apply their knowledge. You'll see the application of knowledge, which is wisdom. And guess what? You will begin to incorporate that mentality into your ways. Alright? Now let's get some precepts. Proverbs 27 verse 17. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of a friend. So iron sharpens iron. Okay? You have to take iron and sharpen iron because what? They're both metals. They have the same density. So iron can sharpen iron. It can mold it. It can make it sharper. So a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. Look at the word countenance. Palayam. Palayam. Face, before, behind. It says face, but it's talking about the spirit. Okay? Because a person's face can determine how they feel in the spirit. You could look at a person's face and you could tell how they feel down in the spirit. So you could sharpen the countenance of your friend. We build each other up with the scriptures. We build one another in the spirit. We edify one another with the knowledge. So as iron sharpens iron, A man sharpens the countenance of his friend. Keep each other on point. Because something is sharp, isn't it pointy? The iron clashes against one another, molding it, shaping it, refining it. Just as we do that to one another, refine one another's character. By giving scriptures. But the scripture said you gotta do this, scripture said you gotta do that. So you do that with correction. And even not if it's not correction, just with giving the brother understanding of how they're supposed to conduct themselves. That's sharpening the countenance of your friend. What the scriptures say, blessed is he that readeth. So, oh yeah, you know, so we gotta stay in the scriptures more. Oh, you know, the scriptures say, you know, turn the other cheek. Or just giving the brother an understanding of the scripture. It may not have nothing to do with conduct. I'm giving them a breakdown. You're building the brother up in the spirit. So true friendship, you sharpen one another's character. You sharpen one another's conduct. You sharpen one another, refining each other. Alright? That is the book of Sirach, chapter 8. I'm sorry, is this Sirach? But you know, I'll get that now. That's not what I was looking for, but I'll get it. This is Sirach 8 and 9. I was gonna get the scripture, but this wasn't what I'm looking for. I'm looking for 2nd Ezra 8. I bought Sirach 8. 2nd Ezra 8 and Sirach 8 and 9. Miss not the discourse of the elders. So you're not supposed to miss the discourse of the elders. Meaning what? The discourse is their speech. They counsel, so you got to take heed to the elders when they're speaking. You don't want to miss it. For they also learn of their fathers. So they also learned of their fathers, implying that they learn from their fathers just as you learn from them because they're your elders. And of them thou shalt learn understanding and to give answer as thee requireth. And from them we will learn understanding and how to give answers as we should, as the need requires, as required, as needed. So you got to take heed to the elders when they're speaking, when they're doing their videos. Okay? Ask them, you know, certain questions about things. You got to take heed to what's being said. That's very important. They're not talking to be talking. The Most High Yahweh Shema Shah just didn't put them in that position for no reason. Right? This is Psalms 119 and 63. I am a companion of all them that fear thee, and of them that keep thy precepts. Now, what's the fear of the Lord? Proverbs, what's that, 1 and 7? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. So to have knowledge of the Lord is to fear the Lord. Okay? To have knowledge of the Lord is to fear the Lord. Because if you have a fear of the Lord, then you will do what pleases him. Because why? You had a fear of being judged. It keeps you in check, keeps you in line. So right here the scripture says, I am a companion of all them that fear thee, and of them that keep thy precepts. So guess what? We ought to be companions, friends of those that fear the Lord, that have the knowledge of the Lord, and that keep his precepts, keep his teachings, keep the scriptures that's written in the Bible. So that's what we're supposed to be. This is the book of this is scripture I wanted, 2nd Ezra 8 and 51. But understand thou for thyself and seek out the glory for such as be like thee. That's what the angel said to Ezra. Seek out the glory of men that be like thee, like-minded men, wise men, spiritual men. All right, and that's what we're supposed to do. Okay, you know, that's how we're supposed to be. Yes, people in the world, people in your family you're cool with, you might be around them if they're decent, but ultimately, our real link, real connection with the brotherhood, men that's like unto thee. All right, because when you come into this thing, you leave the world behind, and part of leaving the world behind is leaving behind the relationships that you have with worldly people. That's part of this growth. And the longer you in this thing, the more you grow, the more you realize, honestly, you could do without the people in the world. You realize that. You understand? That don't mean you don't care about them, because you know they're people that played important roles in your life. But at the same time, this truth is what's most important. You know? And the brotherhood. How about you know Shah? And the brotherhood. Alright? This is 2 Timothy 2 and 1. Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Yahushua, and the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses. So the Apostle Paul is saying, be strong in the grace that is in Yahushua. He's saying this to Timothy in his letter. And all things that you heard of me among many witnesses, among all the people that heard the Apostle Paul's teachings. The same commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also. So the things you heard of me among many witnesses, because many people have heard these things that I've said, Timothy. They've heard what was written in these letters. I spoke to so many people in person. The same commit thou to faithful men. Commit these teachings to faithful men who are of the faith, who believe in Yahushua, who shall be able to teach others also. So you also got to teach men who can teach other men. All right? Which goes back to the initial scripture, Proverbs 13 and 20. He that walketh among the wise shall be wise. And men that commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also. And here's the last scripture, Mark 9:38. And John answered him, saying, Master, we saw one casting out devils in thy name, and he followed not us. And we forbade him, because he followed not us. So there was somebody out there that was casting out demons in the name of Yahushua, but it wasn't among Yahushua and 12 disciples. So the disciples said, yo man, you can't do that. Got a word, forbade him. Forbade him.
Strong's G 2967. Koluo. Koluo.
Koluo. And it says to hinder, prevent, forbid, to withhold a thing from anyone, to deny or refuse one thing. So they prevented him from casting out demons. Because he was casting out, he was there. Because he was casting out demons in the name of the Lord, but he wasn't among Yahushua and the disciples. He wasn't a part of them. But Yahushua said, forbid him not. For there is no man which shall do a miracle in my name that can lightly speak evil of me. Meaning they can't even say a little bad about him. They can't say nothing bad about him. Because after all, he's doing miracles in my name. You get a word lightly.
Strong's G 5035. Tahu.
Tahu. Quickly, speedily. Doesn't really give us much there. So lightly, readily, quickly, suddenly, shortly, without delay, soon. So it says by implication of ease. In other words, of ease, readily. So they can't say anything bad about me, no matter how light it is. That's why the word ease is there. So they can't say anything bad about me, no matter how light, not even a minute thing. Because after all, they're casting out demons, doing miracles in the name of Yahushua. But Yahushua said, forbid him not, for there is no man which shall do a miracle in my name that can lightly speak evil of me. For he that is not against us is on our part. See? So if they're not against us, they're on our part. So basically what he's saying is, if they ain't against us, they're on our side. You know? Even though they may not physically be walking among us, they may not be among Yahushua and 12 disciples, they're still doing the work of Yahweh Shema. Okay? Okay? You know what I mean? Because in order for them to have cast out demons in the name of Yahushua, then guess what? They had to have been men that walked among the wise. Because how else would they know Yahushua's name to cast out demons? That goes back to Proverbs 13 and 20. And walketh, when I went to that Hebrew word, it said men of life. So they was in the same men, he was in the same manner of life of the disciples, of Yahushua and the disciples, living righteously, believing in the name of Yahushua. but it allowed him to display the Yahweh Shem Yahshua. His faith allowed him to be able to cast out demons in his name. So with that, I'm going to close and say, oh, praise the Yahweh Shem Yahshua. I hope you brother learn something. Shalom.